All right, so welcome to your yoga. We have 2 blocks. We'll probably use them a few times. You may or may not want to use them, but I'll offer kind of ways to use them to make some of these stretches a little bit easier. And the sequence day is programmed kind of with the idea of the workout Jeremy Baugh in mind. This is the Sunday Fun Day workout. And one of the things we've got is we're going to focus on kind of there's toes to bar, there's jump rope, there's overhead squats. So a lot of things like wrists and shoulders, like smaller areas, feet. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on some of these smaller areas and then also tackle all the big ones. So let's start with child's pose or in child's pose with a block. So you're going to put one block on the floor and we're going to put our head on the block. So get your toes together, knees apart. And we can go arms out in front or arms alongside the waist. But let's just get into a comfortable position where our head is resting on the block, our shoulders are relaxed, and we can feel the hips start to soften. And as you're here, just begin to breathe through the nose. Just a gentle close of the mouth and just a easy, smooth breath through the nostrils. Just kind of clearing out some of the places that feel stuck. Trying to find a little bit more space through the ribs. So as you inhale, kind of actively expanding the ribs in all directions to create more space. Just finding a little bit more softness here wherever you can, relaxing the hips. Find some softness in the toes. Let the jaw get heavy. And now on your inhale, we're just going to gently walk our hands back and coming to a place where we're just sitting on the shins a little bit. And I'm going to go into a little bit of wrist stretch. If we need to sit on a block, no problem. But let's go ahead and start with our hands flat on the floor in front of the knees, fingers forward. Okay. And we're going to lean the shoulders forward. And we're just going to kind of find a little bit of stretch through the wrists. We can go kind of side to side with the shoulders. We can make circles. Okay. And then from here, we'll go ahead and release the hands, give them a little shake, and then we'll turn the fingers towards the knees with the heel of the palm down. And then again, same thing here. We're going to kind of lean back, keep the heel of the palm down, and go side to side. Things like overhead squats can irritate our wrists. Sometimes if we don't have, kind of an active wrist position, or front rack, that's another one. So always important to add in some of these extra little stretches for the little things like that. Okay, let's go ahead and release and then give it a little shake. Okay, so next up is the toe stretch. This is one of my favorites, though it is very intense. So we go slowly into this. So shimmy your knees and feet together. Okay. And then you're going to tuck your toes under and just lift your knees off the floor. Okay. From here, we want to make sure first we've got all 10 toes kind of on the floor so you can feel all that good pressure. And then we're going to drop the knees down towards the floor. Ooh. Now this might be enough of a stretch here. Okay. If we need a little bit more, we can sit the torso up. Ooh. Don't worry, we're going to come into this again, so it doesn't have to be super, super intense to start. Just kind of breathing. Just kind of notice if one foot is a little more flexible than the other. That's stuff that we want to take care of. Okay, go ahead and gently bring those hands forward. Release the toes and give them a little wiggle. Maybe some ankle rolls or some feet rolls. Okay. And then releasing the feet down, we're going to go one more wrist stretch. So this time we're going to go flip the palms so that the fingers face each other. First thing I want you to do is kind of straighten the arms. If you're able to do this with straight arms, maybe we can start curling the fingers a little bit. Yeah, good. And then we can release the curl and then just walk the hands out a little wider, especially if you were able to keep those elbows straight. Yeah, good. Maybe a little curl of the fingers. And release. Release the hands, kind of shake them out, give them a little wrist roll. Okay. Then we're going to go back into that toe stretch one last time. Okay, maybe we find a little bit more space. Okay, so first getting onto the toe balance. So we get all 10 toes, maybe spread them out a little bit so you find contact. And then from there, we can bring those knees back down. Maybe you'll feel a little bit more space on this one. Good. All right, go ahead and release. And then give those toes a little bit of movement, some ankle rolls. Good. Okay. And then let's take the block, or one block, and we're going to go off to the right side with it. And if we start at about hands and knees, we want that block off to the right at about that hand height. Okay. We'll start on the right side. We're coming into a chest stretch with the block. So this left hand will come out off of the mat, okay? And then the right hand finds the block. Okay? From here, we're going to take our right shoulder and reach it down towards the floor. So we're in kind of what we would feel like a scorpion stretch would be without going into scorpion. Okay. If we need to push the block out more to get more stretch, find your sweet spot. Good. Go ahead and gently release that. We'll go to the other side. Okay. So that block goes off to the left quite a bit. Okay. Right hand off of the mat onto the floor, and then left hand on the block. From here, we're going to rotate that left shoulder down. The left side reaches towards the floor. Get a little bit more stretch through the front of the chest. Good. Go ahead and gently come out of that. Okay. And then we'll grab our block, maybe two of them. We'll see what we need. We're going to go now knees together, feet apart. We're going to come into saddle. Now, saddle technically would be like if I could sit. I'm kind of tight today. So if I could sit with my hips all the way to the floor. Like I'm not really feeling a stretch, but I actually just can't get there today. So I'm going to place a block under my hip. Actually, might even place two. Some days a little bit easier than others. Yeah. So I'm going to go two just because it's a little more comfortable for me. But if you can sit closer to the floor, do that. Okay. All right. So we've got the lower body is set. The upper body, we're going to find a little bit of a neck release. So take your right arm, wrap it around your lower back. Just kind of drop this right shoulder down. Take your left ear and reach it towards your left shoulder. Now, first thing is we're just got that big stretch, that big neck muscle on that right side. And if it feels okay, we can begin to keep the head angled to the left, but draw the chin slowly down to the chest. Feel that stretch kind of travel around the back of the neck. And then bring the chin all the way to the chest, top of the head points forward. Now you'll feel a stretch maybe down the spine. You're going to roll your head back over to the left side as you lift your chin. Keep rolling it and then lift your chin all the way to the ceiling. Keep leaning that head to the left though. You'll feel a stretch through the front of the neck. And then bringing that chin down back towards neutral, still leaning over to the left. Gently bring your head back to center. Release. Let that right arm just kind of hang and shake out. Okay. And then we'll do the other side. So take that right arm around the left arm. The left shoulder just kind of gets heavy, drops down. And then right ear towards right shoulder. Start with that neutral chin so you feel just that big side muscle, like side neck muscle. You can probably feel it. Real thick muscle on that side of the neck. And then begin to draw the chin slowly down. Keep angling the head over to the right. Drawing the chin all the way down to the chest. Letting the head point, top of the head point forward so that that stretch travels down both sides of the spine. And then begin to let that head lean over to the right again. As you begin to slowly bring that chin back to neutral. And then up towards the ceiling. Keep leaning the head. All right, gently bringing the head back to neutral. And slowly releasing the left arm. Give it a little wiggle. All right, and let's gently come out of that whole position. We can come forward onto the hands and knees. We can do a little extension of the legs. Couple cat-cow if that feels good. All right, and then we can move the blocks off to the side if you used them. And we're going to do child's pose side stretch with a block today. So you just need one. We're going to go off to the right side. So put that block up towards like 2 o'clock if you're looking straight forward. Okay. And we'll adjust the block as we need to based on the position. So toes together, knees apart again. Now let's walk the hands out in front. Okay. And then let's go over to the right side towards the block. Okay. Now both hands are going to be placed on the block, and you're going to reach far forward over towards that 2 o'clock side. And then from here, we're going to draw the chest down. You can also think about rolling and twisting. So outer left ribs roll down, or they go the other way where they roll up. And just try to find some movement in this position, using the block to create a little bit more height so you can drop the chest down towards the floor more. You have more space. And gently release that. And then before we walk over to the other side, just place that block on the other side. Okay. And then hands come through center and then over towards that other side. And then right hand on the block, left hand on the block. Reaching through your right fingertips and reaching with the block. And we draw the chest down. And then play around with rolling the right ribs to the floor or up towards the ceiling. Let's go ahead and gently release, walking the hands back through center. And then that block can just kind of stay off to the side. And then we're going to come back to the hands and knees for just a few cat-cow to like reset the hips and things. You can roll the shoulders. Okay, and then from here, we're going to go just a quick little Cobra up dog. So just slide your knees back, bring your hips down all the way, and then come towards the floor with the belly. Okay. So Cobra is just a little baby up dog. So we're going to bring our hands to the sides, elbows in, and all I want you to do is just as you roll the shoulders down the back for that long neck, you're just going to press through the palms and gently lift. Then bring yourself down. Do that a couple more times. Let's on that inhale, lift. Shoulders away from the ears. Yeah, good. And then back down. And then we can stay with Cobra, or if you feel ready to go all the way to up dog, we just press through the palms, straighten the arms. We can either relax the hips or create a little bit of tension in those legs by pushing into the tops of the feet. Our chest is open and we're lifting. And on your exhale, go ahead and sit back to child's pose for just a count here. And then downward facing dog on your next exhale. And once you get to down dog, just a couple rounds of like pedaling out the feet, draw one heel down, bend the opposite knee, and kind of hold that for a couple counts and go back and forth. Good. All right, let's reset our down dog. So hands, shoulders distance, feet, hips distance. And on your exhale, you'll step your right foot to the outside of the right hand, and then bring the back knee down. All right, starting first with a little bit of Spiderman here. So we can let that right knee fall over to the right. Maybe you've got the space to come to your forearms. Maybe you're almost there, and a block is that middle. It's kind of where I am today. So finding a little bit of release here in the hip, and then softening other places like the shoulders and the jaw. Good. All right, on your inhale, go ahead and come back onto the palms. Okay. We can move this block off to the side. And then you'll bring your right knee in towards your right shoulder, but your hands are still inside that front foot. Okay. So this one is a little bit fancy. It's a fancy pose. And the idea is that we're getting a left side stretch. Okay. So tuck your left toes and lift the knee off the floor. Okay. You're going to roll to the outer edge of your left foot and turn your right toes to the right. Outer edge of your left foot, right toes to the right. From here, we're going to draw our outer left hip down. Okay. And you can bring this right foot in a little bit if you need a little bit more support. Yeah. You guys feel that in the side? Yeah. There you go. Good. And let's go ahead and gently pull yourself out of that. And then we'll go back to down dog for a little reset. We'll do the second side. So lift those hips. And from here, we can kind of shrug the shoulders. You can move side to side, whatever feels good. All right, let's go ahead and step that left foot to the outside of the left hand. Bring your back knee down. Let your left knee fall over to the left. And then we stay here, or we can draw the forearms down to the block or the floor. And all right, let's go ahead and come on the hands. We can move that block off to the side. Shimmy your left foot in just a little bit, but hands still inside that front foot. Tuck your right toes. Okay. Then we're going to drop to the outer edge of your right foot. Turn your right toe or your left toes to the left. And then from here, we can kind of just allow the hip to drop. All right, pull yourself gently out of that. We'll go back to down dog. All right, on this set, let's go inhale, right leg lifts high to the ceiling. And then step your right foot between the hands. And then back knee comes back down. Let's have your blocks handy before we go into the next thing. Okay. You can just have them off to the side. And then let's come into our lunge. So lift that torso up. From here, just an easy drop of the hips to the floor. And it's just allowing the space because you've got tension here. This is where the balance is. So this front of your left hip can release because it doesn't need to hold on to keep you in this position. If you feel your lower back, create a little tension through your middle. And then to add on, left arm up. And then lean over to the right. Keep lifting the chest, but lean to the right side. And go ahead and gently bring your hands down. And then here's where these blocks might come in handy. We're going to go hamstring stretch. So we can shimmy that right foot forward, straighten the leg, and curl the right toes up. Now you may not need a block and be able to put your fingertips on the floor. Cool. Wherever you are, let's lift that chest a little bit more towards the foot so you feel your back flatten out just a bit. And then turn your toes to 2 o'clock, so out to the right. Feel that stretch. And then in towards 10 o'clock. Might not feel a big stretch, but you might. And so just kind of play around with where the foot needs to be to give you that good stretch you're looking for. Good. All right, let's go ahead and rebend that front knee. Blocks off to the side, and then we'll find our way back to downward dog. Any way you want to get there. Once you're there, again, pedal out the feet. Feel what that right side feels like compared to the left, because we're going to even it out. So inhale, left leg lifts, and then exhale, step it through between the hands. Bring your back knee down. Okay. Blocks are handy, but we don't need them yet. Okay. And then sit in the torso up. Trying to find softness here in the hip flexor because you've got the balance in the front. Go ahead and let that hip relax towards the floor. Tension through the middle if you feel your lower back. And then right arm lifts. Lift and lean over to the left. Good. Exhale, hands come down. And then grab the blocks if you need them. We're going to sit the hips back. Shimmy that left foot forward so we come into our half split. When you're there, reach the chest forward so that spine flattens out. And then add a little movement with that foot so you can turn it out towards 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And you're just trying to create a position with the foot where you feel that deep stretch. Good, all right. Let's move those blocks off to the side. And then slowly make your way to down dog, any way you want to get there. All right, let's go ahead and lift the right leg. Bend your knee and try to stack your right hip on top of your left hip. You can kind of like open up and try to reach your right toes towards the back of your head. You can make circles with the ankle, big circles with the knee. Just find a little movement here in this down dog. And then we'll go ahead and reach that right foot down and then switch left leg up. Stack the left hip on top of the right, bend the knee. You can move around, ankle rolls, knee rolls. Good. And then coming back to down dog. Pigeon. Okay. So on your exhale, you're going to take your right knee toward your right wrist. Okay. And bring your shin down. Now, we have 2 blocks. We have 2 ways we can use them. I've got a pretty tight hip today, so I'm going to use it under my hip just as much as I need. And then my other block is going to be from my forehead. So I can just kind of relax down. Now, today I'm going to have a pretty high position, and that's okay. Adjust it as things start to open up. I'll just find some release here, some smooth breathing. Try to release through the tension that you feel. start walking yourself out of this. Okay. And we'll go back to down dog. Just any way you want to get there. No rush. And when you get there, do whatever you need for the next few breaths to just loosen that hip back up, create some movement back into that joint. All right, let's switch sides. So left knee towards the left wrist. This side may or may not feel the same as the other, so, adjust and get the blocks there if you need it, and if you don't, cool. And just do the same thing you did on that first side. It's just find as much softness as you can while you're releasing the tension in the hip. All right, let's go ahead and slowly bring yourself out of this position. And then making your way to down dog for our last little reset. And then once you get to down dog, any final movement that you want here. Good. And then go ahead and just bring those knees down to the floor. Okay. We're going to come into single leg saddle. And this one, we're going to find a little bit more back bend if we can, or lean back. So we can use the block if we need it. Single leg saddle is going to be, we're going to go right leg bent, left leg out in front. And I'm going to sit on the block, or maybe even two blocks to start, just so I can get into position. And the idea is that just like saddle, we're sitting inside. Ooh, careful. Sitting inside of that right foot. Now you might find that we can't get there, and that's okay. Or we are using the block to find the stretch, but yeah. And then from here, we can lean back a little bit. Ooh, you feel that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, get a little stretch in the front there. And let's slowly sit up and just go other side. You might find that one side needs a little bit more block set up than the other, or not. So you're inside of this left foot. That right leg is extended, and then we're reaching back. Sometimes stretches don't have to be super, super intense for the body to understand it needs to be able to get into these positions. Okay, so sometimes an easy stretch is really helpful. Good. Gently bring yourself up. We can remove the block and bring our foot forward. Blocks can go off to the side. We are all done with them for the day, unless you want them for your final rest. So we may get back to one, but we'll see what you think. Reverse table. So let's put our feet flat on the floor. Hands behind us. Fingers are going to point forward. Sequence here is squeeze the shoulder blades together, straighten the arms, puff up the chest. Maybe this is enough. Maybe we need a little bit more, and we can lift the hips and lean them towards the toes. We're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and sit the hips down, release the arms, give them a little shake. And then we're going to grab the knees. Just going to roll back, all the way back. Bring the knees to the chest when you get there. Give them a squeeze. And then we're going to go happy baby. You're going to grab the outer edges of the feet. Elbows will be inside the knees. And then from here, we're just kind of playing around. We can straighten the legs one at a time or together. We can draw the feet down like we're in a squat, feeling the low back push into the floor and the knees pulled to the ground. Legs can straighten over the head a little. Good. Now go ahead and release the hands. Bring the knees to the chest. Give them a squeeze. Make circles one way with the knees a couple times. And the other to massage the lower back. All right, spinal twist. Keep your right knee into the chest. Left leg will start to extend on the floor, but we need to scoot the hips to the right just a couple inches. So scoot them over to the right. Left leg straight on the ground. And then from here, we can allow that right knee to fall to the opposite side. We've got our right arm out like a T. And our body is getting heavy to the floor. So let gravity do the work here. No pushing, no force. And gently bringing your right knee back through center. Square the hips back up and give both knees a squeeze to the chest. So that we can start the second side. Right leg will start to extend, but first let's scoot the hips to the left. Then you get that right leg all the way down. Left knee can fall to the opposite side. Left arm is out, but dropping down towards the floor as everything just gets heavy. Good. Now inhale. We'll slowly bring you back to where your knees are in your chest and your hips are reset. Go ahead and give those knees a squeeze. And then from here, we can extend the legs. We're coming into our final rest. You may find today, since we have a block, that a block under your head actually feels really nice. Okay, so decide kind of what relaxing position you want. Legs out in front or knees bent. You can be on a block or off. It's get comfy, right? Like we're just trying to find a way to release any final tension and just allow the body to just be. And your breathing to be natural, fluid, and at a pace that feels comfortable. Slowly start to wiggle the fingers and toes. And reach the arms overhead, full body stretch, like you're waking up in the morning. And then eventually we'll make our way to a comfortable seat, but you can roll through like just onto your side before you get there. And just slowly finding your transition back to that seat.